reconciliation looks like. A racially divided town unites for a lost Indigenous girl.
Both sides, the feather and the Bible, were together.
From taking out liquids and taking off shoes to pat-downs and body scans, we all roll with the changing rules of air security. Now, sudden restrictions out of the U.S. may limit your electronics on some flights. It's led to confusion and questions, including, was it prompted by a specific threat? And if not, why are there such specific conditions? The U.S. rules affect airports in eight majority Muslim countries, including big travel hubs like Dubai and Istanbul. 9 carriers, all foreign, will soon have to ensure no electronics larger than a smartphone are in carry-on luggage on flights to the United States, and Canada may soon follow. Stephen D'Souza has more on the reaction.
On long flights, electronics are everything from a distraction to a necessity. But now the U.S. Department of Homeland Security says if you're flying from certain airports in certain countries, anything larger than a cell phone is a threat.
Elevated intelligence that we're aware of indicates that terrorist groups continue to target commercial aviation and are aggressive in pursuing innovative methods to undertake their attacks.
The ban includes any device larger than a smartphone, so laptops, tablets, portable game consoles, and cameras must all be placed in checked baggage.
They believe that by putting it in checked baggage, it will be subject to a different kind of screening, and also the passengers will not have access to it.
U.S. officials wouldn't say if there's a specific threat. Instead, they pointed to previous attacks, like this in Somalia last year, where a suspected bomb inside a laptop blew a hole into the side of a plane. Still, the U.S. information was enough to convince British officials to get on board, though their restrictions targeted only 6 countries, including 2 the U.S. didn't list. As for Canada,
we are looking at the information that has been presented to us. We're going to look at it very carefully and have a fulsome discussion amongst our colleagues.
It's not the first time electronics have been banned from the cabin. In 2006, after the discovery of a plot to use liquid explosives disguised as soft drinks, British authorities banned all carry-on items except essentials.
If you're a business person traveling from one of those countries and you need to have your laptop with you, I think that deserves consideration.
If it's a credible threat, then it's something that I'm okay with.
But some experts say for the ban to be truly effective, more countries need to take part.
The problem, of course, is everybody has to buy into this. And once you have one airline not buying into it, going into any one country, then you have a problem.
The restrictions must be in place by the end of the week and for now are indefinite. As it stands, no U.S. carrier is directly affected, which has led some experts to suggest that this move gives them an advantage over their Middle East competition. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
So how many passengers would this restrict? Well, Flight Global, an aviation industry tracker, looked at daily schedules from those countries for the airlines affected. They now have 50 daily flights to the U.S., meaning that as many as 18,000 passengers a day would have to follow these rules. Police have arrested 43-year-old Justin Kyer after putting out a Canada-wide arrest warrant for him yesterday. He was last seen in St. Catharines, Ontario. Reports suggest he was arrested near the Manitoba border. Kyer faces a second-degree murder charge in the death of his stepson, 7-year-old Nathan Dumas. Police also say he stabbed a woman at a bank. Well, it was a big campaign promise, and the government wasted no time announcing it would hold an inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women. But 6 months after it's officially launched, the inquiry's still not up and running, and the clock is running out on its 2-year mandate. Cameron McIntosh has more.
In 2011, Dawn Anderson froze to death outside her home. RCMP called it accidental.
There's a lot more that happened than what her death was ruled as.
But her sister Hilda says signs of a struggle were overlooked. A story she wants to take to the inquiry on missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. But she's frustrated little is happening.
Right now, the way they're doing it is creating a lot of turmoil and anxiety and stress with families.
Nearly 8 months into its 2-year mandate, the $53.8 million inquiry has yet to hold a hearing and has yet to hear from a single witness. With more than 1,200 murdered and missing cases identified in this country, it only has commitments so far to speak to about 120 people.
We know they're starting in May.
A lawyer with the commission running the inquiry says it's taking its time to make sure it gets it right. Families are required to self-identify.
We didn't want to cold call potential families who have experienced great loss.
Families can't actually sign up on the website, but can fax or email. An 800 number is coming. Meanwhile, dates and locations for nationwide hearings that are supposed to start in just weeks are still to be announced.
And what was it that needed to be done?
That worries Senator Murray Sinclair. He chaired the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. He says the best way to get people to come forward is to get out there.
They have to start hearings. They've only got a 2-year limit on their mandate.
The inquiry was a key Liberal promise.
Order.
In question period today, the Indigenous Affairs Minister insisted the government has given the inquiry its full support.
And we'll continue to work collaboratively with all parties to ensure the Commission is ready to hear from families this spring.
Meanwhile, Anderson Pierce fears the 2-year time frame is closing.
I think that, if they want to do it properly, they should remove that timeline.
Otherwise, she worries the whole story won't be heard. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Coming up, another story of a missing Indigenous girl, but this one is different. Her disappearance became the catalyst for profound change in an Ontario town. Well, the Prime Minister's personal family trip to visit an old family friend for the holidays last Christmas cost Canadian taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars. The full bill for the Trudeau's travel to the Aga Khan's home in the Bahamas topped $127,000. The costs are broken down in documents tabled in the House of Commons. Among them, the flight on board a Challenger jet, plus food and drinks on board, RCMP officers who provided security, as well as a tour technician. The rest of the costs were for other staff who made the trip, plus their meals and incidentals. The Prime Minister is not allowed to fly commercial and must have security. Trudeau has reimbursed the government just under $5,000 for the trip. Well, she's getting a West Wing office, security clearance, and U.S. government-issued electronic devices. But the Trump administration says it's all just fine because Ivanka Trump will have no formal role in her father's government. As Lindsay Duncombe tells us, that's far from enough for people concerned about the optics and the ethics.
Her role has always been far more than ceremonial. Giving Ivanka Trump an office, a cell phone, and security clearance simply formalizes what she's been doing for years, working for her dad.
No presidential child has really fulfilled a role quite like this.
Anita McBride was chief of staff for First Lady Laura Bush. She says making the first daughter's role official is a sign the president knows he needs her.
Nobody other than a family member, a spouse, a child is more invested in the success of a president than a member of the family.
My daughter Ivanka is with us today.
To many, though, this undefined role doesn't look good, especially considering Ivanka Trump's husband is also a senior advisor to her father. Bill Clinton's former labor secretary tweeted, "Ivanka into the White House? It's like a coup, and the dictator's family is moving into the palace as it prepares to loot the country." There have been accusations Ivanka Trump is making money off the presidency. She no longer controls her clothing company, but hasn't sold it. She used a post-election 60 Minutes appearance to sell bracelets. And when Nordstrom dropped her line, the president tweeted about it. But the White House says she'll follow the rules.
Ivanka has taken on several measures to promote high standards of ethical conduct. Even though she's not a federal employee, she'll follow the restrictions that would apply if she were.
So just call her an employee, says this former ethics advisor to George W. Bush.
My concern is why can't this White House just tell the truth? She is an employee. And over again, the White House seems to be incapable of telling the truth about the most basic things.
But even the toughest critics note Ivanka Trump has a reputation for moderating her father. And in a White House where many have extreme positions, that's valuable.
We need good, solid people who can have an influence on the president. And if that's family members, then so be it.
There may never have been a child of a president with so much power. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Washington.
Coming up, reconciliation in Northern Ontario. Two solitudes are united in shared grief.
It was wonderful. It was historical.
Plus, we remember trailblazing broadcaster Betty Kennedy. Well, as hockey fights go, this one's a big deal. The world's best talent, guys like Crosby, Ovechkin, Price, are being told they might not be going to the Olympics next winter. As Chris Brown tells us, it all has to do with risk and reward.
Canada may have lost the bronze medal game back in 1998, but it was the start of a winning streak for hockey fans everywhere. 5 Olympics in a row have now featured the world's top NHLers wearing their country's colors and playing some of the most memorable games ever.
To McDavid, centered it, save, rebound, score, Lucic.
But owners have always acted lukewarm to sharing their players, risking injuries, and shutting down the league. Today, NHL boss Gary Bettman was quoted by Reuters saying, "As things stand now, people should assume we are not going." That's seemingly a final-ish sounding no to next year's games in Pyeongchang, South Korea.
The status quo hasn't been very good for the last 5 Olympics, and I think there's real negativity and fatigue because of how disruptive it is to the season.
Then again, for the Sochi Games, the NHL only decided to go in July, so there may still be time to sort out, for example, who will pay the $25 million in travel and insurance. That's one of the sticking points.
Fans want it, the players want it, give us what we want. We want to see Olympic hockey.
It's pretty bad for the hockey. Actually, international hockey need the Olympic. That's the biggest stage they have.
He is notorious for setting deadlines and then ignoring them.
Olympian Deidre Dion is a sports marketing consultant who's followed Bettman's brinkmanship.
We all know the players want to go, so if he can use this and he can delay this to get more rights from the IOC, to get more money from the hockey federations, and to get more back from the players in CBA negotiations, he's going to do it.
The NHL might be prepared to skip a small non-hockey market like South Korea, but probably not China, which is hosting 5 years from now. That's a market the NHL is interested in, and with its potentially massive audiences, the IOC could bargain that to get the NHLers to Korea first. Chris Brown, CBC News, Vancouver.
The Trudeau government has worked hard to temper expectations going into tomorrow's federal budget, but there are some buzzwords to listen for. Innovation and infrastructure at the top of the list. Our David Cochran has been working to put some details to those ideas. David, what have you learned?
Yeah, Mark, you're right. The buzz was that this was going to be the innovation budget. The government told us that, but for weeks now they've been trying to downplay those expectations, saying instead that this budget will be a down payment on the innovation agenda. Well, here's part of what that down payment is going to look like. There's going to be a strong focus on skills and job training tomorrow. In particular, you're going to see efforts to help people adapt to a workplace that technology is changing quite rapidly, and also to get young people interested in science and technology at an earlier age. You can also expect a lot of talk about private sector-led innovation and collaboration, but expectations have been pushed so low in terms of new spending that many people are really anticipating a bit of a ho-hum budget. But here's a few more things we know are definitely going to be in there. There will be some tax changes, eliminating some of those tax credits that were put in by the previous government, but the source I spoke with says that it's going to be more of a tinker on tax rather than a full-scale tax reform, because in many ways this budget is going to focus on implementing the last budget. It's going to deliver a lot of specifics on how the $185 billion in infrastructure money will be spent, how much for transportation, how much for social housing, things like that. But there will also be what the government source is calling bold policy steps that won't have any money attached to them. Now, these bold steps, they're going to signal policy directions that the government may take at some point in the future with the hopes of making middle-class Canadians in particular feel more secure about their economic opportunities. But again, these are promises. These are not programs. There's no money there. Departments have been told that the cupboard is bare, not to expect a lot of new spending. And Mark, on that point on new spending, Bill Morneau's second budget is going to be more no than yes.
All right, David, thanks so much. And of course, CBC News will have all the budget highlights and details tomorrow. Our live coverage begins at 2 p.m. Eastern on CBC News Network and cbcnews.ca. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern, Peter Mansbridge hosts Federal Budget 2017 with analysis from Rosemary Barton and Peter Armstrong. That's live on CBC Television, News Network, and online. Finally, we'll wrap up coverage tomorrow night here on The National, including a special At Issue. It was supposed to be a big blow to organized crime in Montreal, but today charges were stayed against 36 people arrested in a series of police raids that started in 2014. Now, the reasons aren't completely clear, but as Alison Northcott reports, it may have something to do with a tactic police once bragged about.
It was a major anti-mafia operation. Project Clemenza targeted 2 Montreal Mafia cells and led to dozens of arrests and charges between 2014 and 2016 for crimes such as arson, weapons offenses, and kidnapping. But today, federal Crown prosecutors issued a stay of proceedings for 36 people, citing a recent Supreme Court ruling that sets limits on how long an accused has to wait before their trial begins and what the Crown calls unprecedented legal questions.
There are questions, the schools are issues that have been raised concerning, among other things, the techniques that were used by the RCMP in the course of their investigation.
Around the time of the first arrest, police boasted about their techniques, which they said included intercepting more than 1 million BlackBerry messages. This defense lawyer represents one of the people whose case was stayed. He says the decision could in part be related to questions he and other defense lawyers had about mobile device identifiers, or MDIs, which can be used to intercept cell phone communication.
Its technology is something that the police try to keep very guarded. In a parallel case, which was ultimately settled, the defense team was allowed to obtain technological data regarding the use of this MDI to show, with a view ultimately show that it wasn't reliable.
The devices have been used in police investigations, but it's not clear how often.
Because there's no formal reporting in Canada, the police don't have to say how often they use these or how effective they are or how many people are charged and get put away as a result of collecting evidence this way.
Rival mafia clans in Montreal have been battling to fill a power vacuum left by arrests and deaths, and experts say today's decision may give them a sense of invincibility.
It's going to give a certain boost to the mafia after such a long period of trouble, violence, and other police inquiries.
The Crown has 1 year to revive the charges stayed today. It says 11 cases will still go ahead, with the next hearing scheduled for May. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
The Sunwing Airlines pilot who was escorted off a plane in Calgary on New Year's Eve with 99 passengers on board pleaded guilty today to being impaired. Miroslav Granic drank so much in his hotel room before the flight, police say he couldn't stand up straight. Granic said he is filled with shame and remorse. He'll be sentenced in 2 weeks. As the world tries to adapt to the effects of climate change, some Canadian scientists are trying to get ahead of it, especially when it comes to flooding. Their goal is to modernize the old forecasting models. And as Briar Stewart tells us, they're hoping that better predictions will mean better preparation.
At this time of year, it's an icy trip up to the top of Fortress Ridge in Kananaskis, Alberta. Once a destination for skiers, now a research site for scientists.
Soil temperature is -5 right now.
John Pomeroy and his team check measurements from this permanent station fixed into the ground.
We're measuring the snow depth here.
But today, the focus is on this.
It's a $60,000 piece of styrofoam.
Launching a drone to take hundreds of photographs of the mountains to create a model like this one, which will help scientists better understand just how much snow there is and how quickly it's disappearing.
A lot of our models and our forecasting systems have been based upon the climate we've had and the water supplies that we've had over the last 100 years. That doesn't work in the future.
Because climate change means some of those older models are outdated, which is why Pomeroy and his team are trying to develop new forecasting systems.
The work underway here is part of a 7-year research project involving 18 different Canadian universities. The goal is to find new ways to measure and manage water given the changing climate.
There is currently no national flood forecasting system in Canada. And at a local level, municipalities across the country are trying to figure out how to respond to changing weather patterns.
The systems are designed for the more common, smaller-sized storm events.
Officials in Edmonton say that there's been an increase in intense rainstorms, the kind that cause flash flooding.
If we keep designing with the same design storm events that we did in the 1980s, we'll under-design our systems.
But before communities can get an accurate picture of just what may be heading their way,
The whole mountain is melting, essentially, as the ground ice goes.
researchers must first develop forecasting systems that take into account the changing environment. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Kananaskis, Alberta.
The United Nations released a dire new report today about climate change. The UN's World Meteorological Organization said 2016 made history as the hottest year on record, both on land and on the surface of the oceans. But that's not all. Melting polar ice contributed to a record rise in sea levels last year, and the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere reached a new high, and the extreme conditions are continuing in 2017. A landslide caused by heavy rains in California this winter damaged this bridge beyond repair, forcing officials to tear it down. It leaves the famous tourist area Big Sur cut off until a new bridge is built. Vigils were held across Northern Ireland tonight for Martin McGuinness. For years, he was known as a brutal IRA leader, but his role and his reputation changed when he put down his weapons. McGuinness died today at the age of 66. Margaret Evans has more.
A Bogside boy returned home. The body of Martin McGuinness was carried through the Derry neighborhood of his youth and the streets that shaped his future, one that was both lauded and reviled. The IRA fighter and the peacemaker, two sides of the same man. His longtime political ally, Gerry Adams, led tributes.
Martin was, we all know, a very passionate Irish Republican. He believed that our people of this island should be free.
The British Prime Minister, Theresa May, said she couldn't condone McGuinness's early life, but that he had led the Republican movement away from violence. McGuinness was born in Londonderry to a large Catholic family, with Northern Ireland on the cusp of the Troubles. By the time he was 21, he was second in command of the IRA's Derry Brigade. For years, McGuinness was adamant that only an armed struggle could bring peace, but he would become the chief negotiator for the IRA's political wing, Sinn Féin, in the talks that led to the Good Friday Peace Accord in 1998.
That leadership and the courage in bringing his movement with him was, for me, and will be the defining legacy of Martin McGuinness.
For those who lost family to IRA violence, the legacy is a bitter one.
You can't forget what he did in his past, which is what everyone seems to be forgetting. He has blood on his hands.
Deputy.
Eventually, McGuinness became Deputy First Minister to his old Unionist foe, the former Reverend Ian Paisley. In 2012, a handshake with the Queen was another watershed moment.
Are you well?
Thank you very much. I'm still alive.
Nice to see you.
He was a game changer in Northern Ireland to the very end, resigning in January to trigger a snap election. His illness, a rare heart condition, was plain to see when he told a gathering in his hometown he would not stand again.
Even though it breaks my heart lies in the Bogside and with the people of Derry.
McGuinness will be buried in Derry on Thursday. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Betty Kennedy is being remembered for her intelligence and grace. She broke ground for women in a business once dominated by men. You may also remember her from her years on this network. Stephanie Van Kampen has her story.
I think people are fascinated with people and ideas, and this is what an interview show is.
If anyone knew the art of an interview, it was Betty Kennedy. She cut her teeth in print in the 50s, but really made her name in radio in the 60s.
And radio came about quite by accident during a strike on the paper. They suddenly assigned me to a 15-minute radio show.
She went on to host her own radio show in Toronto on CFRB, interviewing thousands of guests over the course of 2 decades and blazing a trail for women in Canadian journalism.
She was so much a symbol of her time. I mean, she was the most listened to and liked private broadcaster of the CFRB radio interviews. And she prepared meticulously for them. She was always extremely polite and thoughtful.
Kennedy was perhaps best known for her role on CBC's Front Page Challenge, where she and other notable panelists tried to identify the mystery newsmaker.
Was it a harrowing experience for you?
She was a mainstay on the CBC program for 33 years and was concerned about the future of the broadcaster.
I'd like to see our national news strengthened so that we are not falling into the current pattern of mixing up news and entertainment on a major newscast.
She was also a producer and an author, writing 2 books, including one about the 1954 storm, Hurricane Hazel. Kennedy was named to the Order of Canada in 1982, and at 74 years of age, she was appointed to the Senate by Prime Minister Jean Chrétien.
All her life, she was very often the first at everything. Very elegant and sophisticated person, and she was well known across the land and liked by everybody, and she was a real great personality.
She spent less than a year in the upper house before hitting the mandatory age of retirement. Her one-time producer called her a woman with class, saying she brought dignity to her work. Betty Kennedy was 91 years old. Stephanie Van Kampen, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, as Stephanie mentioned, Betty Kennedy was a regular on Front Page Challenge for most of its 38 years on CBC Television. And the mystery guests she questioned weren't just Canadian.
Are you the central figure of the story?
Yes.
Are you a political figure?
No.
Are you a military figure?
No.
I don't know why that's getting a chuckle.
That's American civil rights activist Malcolm X in 1965. Indira Gandhi, a year before she became India's prime minister. And the first man to climb Mount Everest was another mystery newsmaker, Sir Edmund Hillary. And see if you recognize another familiar face. Yeah, that's Peter, back in 1983. All right, straight ahead, the powerful story of a town that's trying to move past its racial divide.
It is the single biggest tax grab in Canadian history. Finance Minister Michael Wilson's new goods and services tax will bring in $24 billion a year.
People are going to be a little apprehensive about what that change means to them.
Anytime you buy something, you'll be paying the new federal tax.
This is a cruel tax, a brutal tax, a mean tax.
Business owners say the new tax will mean chaos for them, confusion for their customers.
I don't even want to think about it right now.
In Vancouver, the GST has been dubbed the grief and suffering tax.
I get in the cab and I say, if the cab feels a little sluggish, it's because I've got Mr. Wilson tied up in the trunk. And of course, they know who Mr. Wilson is.
There's a brand new creature coming out of Ottawa. The biggest tax collector that you ever saw. Gonna make you pay your money day and night. You get less, we get more.
Saloon keeper Vaughn Gramatovich may seem an unlikely leader for a popular tax revolt.
18 months ago, they threatened to tax my haircuts. And that was it. That was the thing that set me off.
This is what brought the crowd to Parliament Hill, a chance to denounce the government's goods and services tax.
We have to tell Brian Mulroney, take back this tax. Think of me as a new pet who ain't been spayed. Long as I'm fed, no need to be afraid.
The RCMP refused to allow a group of demonstrators driving Ottawa cabs to circle the hill. The cabbies began pushing to go ahead. A lone tax supporter was turned on.
Before anyone ever pays it, the goods and services tax is coming down. The GST was supposed to be 9%. It's going to be 7%.
Protesters carried placards reminding the government that the most recent public opinion poll puts it at 15%. a new record low in popularity.
If we continue to do the right thing for Canada, not what is popular, but what is right, we will be in first place on election night.
The bill passed this last reading in the Commons to a chorus of boos from hecklers in the gallery.
It's so essential, so necessary, and if we can do that at least, then things begin to change. Maybe begin to change so that other kids don't go missing.
Reconciliation is a loaded word in this country. We saw that earlier in our story on the inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and the frustration that progress may be taking too long. Well, in that context, what you're about to see is encouraging. The town of Kenora in northwestern Ontario has a long history of racial tensions. But in the course of a heart-rending tragedy, the people there seem to be closing a rift. Jody Porter tells their story.
Kenora, Ontario. This is cottage country for many Winnipeggers. A year ago, a young First Nations girl disappeared here. Her story is sadly similar to hundreds of others across the country, but the story of how this community reacted is different. Delaine Copenace was a 16-year-old Anishinaabe girl, a shy teen. She loved animals, all kinds of music, and video games.
Such a wonderful kid. She was very loving, very silly all the time. She loved art. She was a very good artist. This one's her version of the Joker and Harlequin.
The bunk beds Delaine shared with her twin are gone.
Her most favorite one was obviously Pikachu.
But for her mother, Anita Ross, reminders of Delaine are everywhere.
She had so many dreams. I know she wanted to be a video game designer. I believe at one point she wanted to be enlist in the army and things like that.
But on February 27th, 2016, those dreams ended. Delaine Copenace disappeared.
If you know where my daughter is, please do the right thing and let her come home to her family.
The search went on for nearly a month. More than 100 volunteers combed the woods while Ontario Provincial Police flew above. It ended when her body was found weeks later in Lake of the Woods. A year later, her family is still struggling with its grief.
We really miss her a lot, you know. Our house is not the same without her. There's a different kind of silence, you know.
Grief fuels Anita Ross's desire for answers. According to the coroner's report, Delaine's death was an accident. She drowned. But many things remain unexplained, including marks the coroner found on her arms and legs.
I know my daughter didn't have bruises when she left the house. There'd be no reason for her to walk a complete different direction to go home. There'd be no reason for her. She was not depressed. She was not suicidal. There'd be no reason for her to go out to the ice.
We had people everywhere searching.
It's a sentiment echoed by others who took part in the search. With so many people looking for her, why did it take almost a month to find Delaine?
The shoreline's here, all along there. The shoreline's here, the streets, the hills, the tracks, those big hills. I mean, we were everywhere. We had volunteers combing every single place you can think of.
Daryl Redsky led the teams looking for Delaine, a task he's performed many times before. This is not a new story in this part of the world.
I see a lot of anguish. I see a lot of hurt. I see a lot of pain in the mothers, in the aunties, in the grandmothers that come and ask for our help.
On March 22nd, the search for Delaine ended in a way that surprised Red Sky and shocked her family. After nearly a month of searching, Delaine's body was found here off the dock. It's just meters from the provincial police station in downtown Kenora. Delaine's death opened old wounds in a place where the natural beauty hides an ugly history. From the early 1900s, there were 3 residential schools in the area. Many children tried to run away. Some died. Few locals seemed to notice the tragedy unfolding in their town. From oppression came resistance. Racial tensions flared. In 1974, the occupation of Anishinaabe Park brought international attention as Indigenous people fought for fishing rights, access to education, and better living conditions. That struggle continues today. Kenora remains a city divided between haves and have-nots. For decades, neighbors have found it hard to talk about Kenora's troubled history. But with the search for Delaine and her death came a new conversation. Those discussions started here, in a place that hasn't always felt welcoming to Indigenous people. Most parishioners have lived in Kenora for years, comfortably but separate. Last year, this church became headquarters for the search. Fred Richardson was one of the first to get involved.
I'll be quite honest with you, there were some congregational members that didn't think it was a good idea. They didn't think it was never been done before. It was something different. They didn't feel it was appropriate. But after it was all said and done, I can't imagine anyone not being on board with what we did.
They all had helium balloons, and they wrote messages on those balloons.
Meg Illman-White, a minister at Knox United, remembers the way Delaine's death rippled through the community.
When somebody goes missing, when something tragic happens to somebody that's young, we try to distance ourselves from that. We try to put up a barrier that says this can never happen to me. So we make all kinds of explanations about how that might be the fault of someone else. But the truth is, it can happen to us.
That distance between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people began to shrink as the community first claimed Delaine as their own and then shared in the grief of her loss.
It's so essential, so necessary, and if we can do that at least, then things begin to change. Maybe begin to change so that other kids don't go missing.
Yeah.
For some parishioners like Miriam McDonald, it was even more than that.
Delaine became one of ours, and how people, the family, embraced us was it was wonderful. It was historical.
The mystery of Delaine's death continues to be on the mind of community leaders like Daryl Red Sky, but the solidarity built in this divided town points to signs that things may be changing.
For the church community to step up and open its doors, I think they did very well in terms of opening up those doors to the community, because both communities came together, both sides, the Feather and the Bible, were together.
Building relationships are important for Anita Ross, but so are answers. For the past year, she has pursued her relentless quest for information about how her daughter died.
I believe she was hurt before she died, and I try hard not to imagine what it was like for those last few minutes of her life.
Nearly every day since Delaine's death, she's come here, often with Lori, Delaine's sister, to grieve the loss of a precious girl. And she's grateful so many others in Kenora are willing to share the burden of that loss, some helping to raise money for a headstone. prior to the day that Delaine Copenace disappeared, the healing whisper of jingle dresses leads the community on a walk in her memory. We love you, Delaine! Kenora can't erase its past, but in coming together to grieve, the whole community is shining a light on the possibility of a different future. Jody Porter, CBC News, Kenora, Ontario.
Coming up on The National, a cry for help.
We have an undiagnosed crisis. Family caregivers need more support, and they need it now.
Caregivers spare the health system a lot of expense, and she makes the case for a national plan to ease their burden. Plus, the push to measure diversity on university campuses. First, let's check the day's business numbers. The TSX closed 129 points down, while the Canadian dollar stayed about the same. In New York, the Nasdaq fell 107 points, while the price of oil dropped 88 cents a barrel.
Pressure equipment of several hundred major operations must once more satisfy demanding production standards that bring to your home the beautiful world of color.
Diversity is celebrated at many Canadian universities, but most schools don't actually ask students about their race. So some wonder, how can universities help minority students feel more included on campus when they don't even know who they are? Diana Swain reports.
At my university,
it's dismaying at times.
It means confronting daily challenges in order to stay in school.
It's very hard to, educate them on why I find things personal.
Ask students from any visible minority group what it's like to be on campus in Canada, and you'll get lots of examples of how they feel overlooked and underserved. Universities routinely advertise themselves as diverse, but in fact, most schools can't tell you if they really are. CBC News surveyed nearly 80 Canadian universities and found most don't know much about the racial makeup of their student population. Simply put, most schools don't ask. The reasons why not include concerns that asking could be associated with discrimination or even considered illegal. Mount St. Vincent has specific programs for students who are Black or Indigenous, but doesn't ask anyone else to identify themselves when they enroll.
We're reluctant to collect data that we're not going to be able to use.
Some schools rely on a voluntary survey of students' race done by an outside organization to get a picture of who's attending their school, but it provides a snapshot at best. Renee Vetivelu is an aerospace engineering student at Ryerson University in Toronto, considered one of the most diverse cities in the world. But she says without knowing the makeup of their student population, the university can't be sure that's reflected in its faculty.
Coming from diverse backgrounds, it can be like a whole new learning experience in itself when the faculty is different.
As Canada becomes more diverse, I think just eyeballing it isn't going to cut it anymore.
Ontario's Chief Human Rights Commissioner says schools need to start collecting race-based data, and she believes the days when people were reluctant to share it are over.
Identity is a huge part of, social media, of the way they engage online, and I think that a lot of students don't see it as an invasion of their privacy in a way maybe that people of an older generation might.
Students like Julia Simone Rutgers attending King's in Halifax believe if schools knew more about their students, they'd be able to better help them handle racial tensions.
I kind of end up walking around having to deal with these things often by myself.
Clear on the other side of the country at the University of Victoria, Michelle Brown is feeling the same thing.
Whenever I come forward with experiences of racism and discrimination, I'm often met with a lot of disbelief and resistance because there's a lot of people who don't believe that racism happens and exists on this campus, even though it does.
The University of Toronto says it will soon start collecting race-based data on its students, and Ryerson University now says it will start too. But with nearly 1.5 million people studying on Canadian campuses, that still leaves many universities with a lot to learn about their own students. Diana Swain, CBC News, Toronto.
Coming up next, the silent sacrifice of family caregivers. Many are pushed to the limit, so is it time to share their burden?
Most of the teenagers that we talked to last spring were very scathing about the kind of sex education that they got, both from their parents at home and at school.
I think they try to keep us naive as long as possible. At 12 and 13, I think we're ready to learn about the actual physical thing of sex.
Most people, by the time they get to grade 11 or 12, have gone out before anyhow.
Teenagers are getting their sex education from each other, and it is freely available to them on the newsstands. I feel I can give my kids the values they need when sex is the issue, but I cannot begin to give them the facts they need. That can only come from trained specialists using a curriculum as carefully planned as the maths course.
The dilemma facing young people today, sexuality. More adolescents are sexually active. By 16, most kids have had their first sexual experience, yet many of them are not sexually responsible. 85% of teenagers don't use any form of contraception.
During intercourse, the sperm are deposited inside the female.
A lot of people think the course is going to encourage sex, but it doesn't. If it does anything, it turns you right off.
The whole idea of birth control is to prevent fertilization.
They're being taught without
the same morals that I would want my children to be taught under.
How do you feel you would perform in bed with two females?
Well, I personally think I'm pretty good.
Do you think you could?
Her name is Sue Johansson, and for the last year and a half, she spent her Sunday evenings answering questions, every imaginable question about sex.
I want to know how it got to be to have an abortion.
I picked up this prostitute, and I noticed that I have these cold sores on the inside of my lips.
They tell her things they'd never tell another living soul. She says the reason is simple.
Because they're desperate. They can't find anybody else that they can really open up to, who will trust, who will not put them down.
If you would give it to them straight, I think you'd have a lot less trouble with people going wrong afterwards, not really knowing what is happening.
My name is B. Kwame. I'm a freelance writer and a former healthcare worker. I want to talk to you about Canada's caregiver burden. Someone once asked me, what makes you proud to be Canadian? I said I was proud to have access to healthcare that's lacking in so many other nations. To me, our healthcare system is central to our Canadian identity. But we have an undiagnosed crisis. Family caregivers need more support, and they need it now. So, who are family caregivers? Statistics Canada has defined them as anyone over 15 caring for a loved one with long-term health issues. In 2012, some 8 million Canadians, around a quarter of our population, fit this description. I know I'll never forget the stories I heard from family caregivers, mostly women, during my career in healthcare. While I helped people with brain injuries, developmental disabilities, and dementia, an unexpected amount of my time was dedicated to helping caregivers in dire need of support themselves. They risked losing jobs due to caregiving-related absences. Their finances were stretched to the limit, and their debts were enormous. They begged for referrals to our agency's psychotherapists for help with their own mental health issues, caused or exacerbated by stress. I did what I could, but it wasn't enough to prevent many of those caregivers from crumbling before my eyes. It's a complete injustice to see how our government ignores family caregivers and how health policymakers take them for granted. A falling birth rate and aging population will only make this worse if caregivers don't get real help. True support can start with the pocketbook. Federally, some tax credits and benefits are available, but the amounts offered are a pittance. And it's a reflection of how poorly our governments value caregiver labor. Provincially, across the country, supports and protections vary. Some provinces, like Nova Scotia, provide a monthly subsidy to family caregivers, while other provinces, like Ontario, offer job protection to caregivers for extended absences. But all of this is piecemeal. It's not good enough. Family caregivers do unpaid work to keep vulnerable people out of the overburdened health system, and we thank them with poor financial and employment support? What happens when they have nothing left to give? If politicians and health policymakers provide the necessary resources now, we can avoid the inevitable crisis facing caregivers, not to mention the people they support and our healthcare system. Who will care for the caregiver when they need help? Right now, the options are looking slim. For The National, I'm B. Kwame.
I'm Anna Maria Tremonti. Tomorrow on The Current, it was faulty Canadian intelligence that led to the torture of Abdullah al-Malki in Syria. He says those who provided it should be held responsible. That's on The Current, weekday mornings at 8:30 on CBC Radio 1.
Reform's Chief of Policy, Steve Harper, previews a major theme of the weekend.
Reformers want a strong country built by those who want in, not by those who want out.
I guess in terms of the results in Calgary West tonight, there's only one thing I can say, along the lines of what Don Cherry always says, and that's
48,561, which is 55.04%.
This country needs a party dedicated not to worshiping or taking advantage of the system, but to reforming the system in this country to better serve the interests of ordinary, hard-working, common-sense Canadians.
Good evening. Stephen Harper and Peter MacKay were all smiles and handshakes today as they took the wraps off their historic deal to merge the Progressive Conservatives and the Canadian Alliance.
This division of Conservatives is ending. Our swords will henceforth be pointed at the Liberals, not at each other.
In the end, the campaign's frontrunner, the former leader of the Canadian Alliance, won the leadership on the first round of voting, denying Belinda Stronach and Tony Clement a second round to try to overtake him.
The tired, old, and corrupt Liberal Party is right now cornered like an angry rat.
We are saying it is going to be a Conservative minority government. You're looking at the 22nd Prime Minister of Canada.
Friends, I have never been so proud of our great country, and I am honored and overwhelmed to be asked to lead it.
Most hours have 60 minutes. This hour has 7 days. Tonight, Ralph Nader charges the Detroit car companies with running risks that can't hurt them, but do hurt us.
I could give an example of the Buick Roadmaster in 1953. The one with power brakes came onto the market, many thousands of them, with a defective braking system. Now,
you mean in the 53 Buick Roadmaster,
with power
a driver
brakes.
would literally go from normal brakes to no brakes like that?
Right, that's right. This is documented in court records, which is very interesting. It shows you that the only way we find out about these things is through the cumbrous process of the judicial system. So what you want to do is make an overwhelming systematic case to overcome the resistance of industry. The stronger a case you make, the more scientists you have working on the project on an independent, objective basis, the more overpowering the forces of humane automotive technology will be.
Well, all cities have to deal with public resources being abused, but Beijing is using a high-tech measure so people don't waste while they make waste. At the popular Temple of Heaven Park, the city found too much toilet paper was being used, perhaps even stolen. So it installed dispensers with facial recognition scanners. You scan your face, you get exactly 60 centimeters of toilet paper. And if you think you need more, well, it's a 9-minute wait before you can rescan. There are already reports of broken machines and unhappy customers. Some will inevitably say they're flushing money away. Some, but not me. That's The National for this Tuesday night. For news at any time, you can go to our website, cbcnews.ca. I'm Mark Kelly. Thanks for watching.